Welcome to Learning Life Skills Together. This is our weekly community Zoom meeting where our guests help us to go deeper into the 4 life skills and open up a huge array of chances to practice them. Hello, everyone, and welcome to weekly Zoom meeting number 23. And we have with us this evening Carolyn Committa, our State Senator, and I will engage with her in just a minute. But first, as always, we're going to do a little bit of practice. We're going to actually work on an emotion regulation practice, since that's the part we're just moving into in the modules that are posted in the course. So maybe we could start by just checking in to how you're feeling right now. What do you notice in your body? What do you notice in your mind? Is there an emotion here that has a name, and you could silently say that name to yourself? And so we're going to take 3 relaxing sighs and sort of see how that affects us. So let's breathe in through the nose. Don't do it yet. So we're going to breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth, making a sighing sound. Okay, that works really good on a podcast. Let's make the sighing sound so you know what's going on here. All right, so we're going to breathe in through the nose and then and let's try another one. And one more time. And so maybe you can check in again. How does it feel now? What's it like for you after having taken that little pause and maybe done some resetting of how things are running in you? So this is pre-recorded, and so I can't ask for your feedback. However, I do have our Senator Committa sitting next to me, and I could ask her how she is right now.
Thank you, John, and wonderful to be with you again, as always. Well, when we started out and you said check in, how are we feeling? I was feeling sort of excited and grateful for your program. I loved the music that led into it, and I thought, wow, this is really wonderful that that Don and team have been able to move this forward and make this course happen. So then we did the 3 breaths, which I do often, and then I felt relaxed. Okay. I could have continued meditating. But
3 more breaths. Here we go.
I said, oh, dear, it's finished.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Just putting that little tiny pause in there can really shift things around.
Yeah.
So this is a great sort of anniversary coming up for the Learning Life Skills Together program. You invited us to the Earth Day celebration last year, and we were just barely beginning to put things together. We had a coming soon flyer at our table, and we've really come a long way. We have a lot of the program built out in English and in Spanish. We have, as I noted, 23 of these meetings, as well as a number of podcasts, and we're keeping a different tally of the ones that we're doing in Spanish. So we've got a lot put together a lot out in circulation, shall we say.
It's wonderful.
So we're really looking forward to Saturday.
Yes.
To Earth Day and updating people and getting the word out.
That's great.
Thank you.
That Earth Day Festival this Saturday, April the 20th at the Upper Main Line Y from 10 to 1.
There you go.
We will have many, many vendors, a lot of activities for children and families. You will have more than a coming soon flyer
Yes,
to talk about the Learning Life Skills Together program. There will be bird walks. There will be canoeing, a tree planting, stream studies, face painting, live music, some food and snacks and treats.
Yes.
And lots of friends. And did you know that this coincides with the YMCA National Healthy Kids Day?
I came to understand
Isn't that
and I was like, my goodness, they've done this just for learning life skills together.
Yes, it's perfect. It's really perfect. Well, this YMCA National Healthy Kids Day is working to raise awareness about keeping minds and bodies active through the summer.
Yes.
When school is out, and the importance of putting down the electronics, getting outside, being active, engaging with the natural world and each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're all about as you sort of scan through what we've done over the last year. I mean, we've really put emphasis on getting outside. We've put emphasis on connecting to nature. So we've got bird watching, we've got fishing, we've got walking or moving through the world, having that experience of seeing the world from various perspectives, being really, really useful to the kids and to their parents, because that's who we're talking to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So the skills that we talk about in the life skills really, all fit into this sense of we are nature, So it's like, let's pay attention to what's happening outside and the nature out there, but let's also pay attention to what's happening inside us. And that is nature as well. So I like to sort of give us a little phrase or word to work around as we talk. I pretty much do this in every podcast, whether I'm meaning to or not. And so I want to be a little bit intentional and say that, in the famous essay Walking by Henry Thoreau, he has this phrase of, in wildness is the preservation of the world. And people mishear that all the time. And unfortunately, fortunately for them, but unfortunately for our understanding, the Sierra Club took that phrase and made it a mantra for many decades. In wildness is the preservation of the world, and everybody thinks wilderness. But that's not what he meant. Yeah. He meant in a little tangle of fern. And so I always think that in the little tangle of fern, there's so many complex things happening, and the same thing inside us, in your child's heart area, right, where they feel things. There are so many things happening. There's wildness there, and we can learn to appreciate it and to work with it. And the more we do that, sort of the healthier we are. And I like to think the healthier we want our environment to be, and therefore we're willing to work on that. So
That's beautiful, and brings to mind the times that I spend with my granddaughters, just walking out back, walking around the circle, down the block. They find all of these little things, these little bugs, these little twigs, those little things you put on your nose, the little helicopters from maple trees and so on. And you point out, you start pointing things out to them, they start pointing things out to you. It's a connection between me and my granddaughters, but it's a great connection between them and the natural world. And there's a surprise a minute. They planted a little seed in their backyard in this little dirt area. Every 30 minutes or less, they're running out. Did it come up yet? Right. Did it come up yet? But there is such a joy and a natural connection there that I think we're reminded of when we're with children, and that we can encourage when we're with them. They see our delight when we reflect theirs, and it's self-perpetuating. It's a great joy.
That's it. It's that back and forth, and the back and
little
forth of
things
of
everywhere,
of the little pleasant things that are here in our world. Yeah. You don't have to go far to find them.
No.
So that is a big message of ours. So I was talking about attention. I want to go through the other life skills. So we have attention, we have emotion regulation, which we just played with a little. It's as simple sometimes as taking a pause and taking 3 breaths. And then we have tolerating the times when things aren't going your way, which is a challenge for everyone, not just for kids, right? So another way of thinking about that is building resilience so that we're able to withstand the shocks that the world brings us, and we're able to bounce back. And, that's so important. And the main one, the fourth one, is communicating effectively. So when our kids can talk to us about what's going on with them, that's when we really, see the other pieces come into play. We can then, work with our emotions, and we can then, figure out how to be resilient and how to get through what's going on once we know. So much of what we're interested in and what we're doing has to do with vocabulary and language. And I know, Carolyn, that you're on the education committee, and you're also on the committee for aging and youth. And so these kinds of ideas are far from foreign to you. So, how does the work on the environment fit together with those pieces around really health and mental health? And, I consider education to be a huge factor in mental health. Yes. As we can talk, as we can express ourselves, we, really have so much more potential for our health.
Yes, absolutely. So in addition to the committees that you mentioned, I'm also the minority chair for the Environmental Resources and Energy Committee, and also the co-chair of the Mental Health Caucus. Oh. It's a bicameral, bipartisan caucus, so we work with House and Senate, Republicans and Democrats, trying to understand how we can help promote mental health, and especially for our children. We saw during the pandemic, we learned a lot during the pandemic about many things, and one of them was that everyone is in need of opportunities to take good care of ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our spirits. communication, as you were talking about, being, whether it was Zoom, which was how
yes.
The kids did their went to school for the most part, and so on. But one of the things that we saw, and I remember this, learning about this, was taking awe walks.
Mm-hmm.
And the mental health and, of course, physical health benefit of getting outside and moving. But just going outside and seeing things, looking for things that you might not ordinarily see, and being awestruck, bedazzled, and grateful. And the experience of seeing something, as I said, even if it's that little bug that my granddaughter has found, or looking for that shoot that has not come out of the seed yet. But there is an excitement there, and it lifts the spirit. I'm sure in the medical world, there would be a description of a lifting of the endorphins and the all of these things in our mind that makes us feel better and stronger and so on. So we learned a lot during the pandemic. We also have known for a long time the importance of even being able to see trees, as far as someone who's in a hospital. Mm-hmm. If your room has a view of trees, the studies have shown that you will heal much better and more quickly than someone who's looking at a brick wall outside the window. And then there's the whole study of forest bathing from Japanese authors and scientists and others that talks about not only the soft benefits of being in nature or looking at nature, but there are actual chemicals that are released by trees and shrubs and the forest that benefit us. And when you were talking about education being such an important part here. When you are aware of these things, you pay greater attention to these things. And sometimes they just come up upon you like a surprise that you realize, wow, this is having a positive impact on me, makes me happy. But when you understand the science behind it, the mental health aspects behind it, and you've already felt those things intuitively, you say, okay, I get that. Mm-hmm. And then you can say, as you mentioned, intentionality. I want to make sure that I take good care of myself. I'm going to go out for that awe walk. I'm going to take that time to pay attention and to be mindful of what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm smelling, where I'm walking.
Yeah.
And all of the nature that I am a part of wherever I happen to be.
Yeah. This takes us back to that putting a pause in. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a long time. 2 minutes, 5 minutes. If you're if you're feeling, sleepy or acted upon by what you're doing in the world, get up. Go to the door, walk outside, and look up at the sky. That's sometimes all it takes, because you want awe. Usually looking up will give you some. Yeah, it's really, really
that is for sure. Yeah. So. That's what my father always said, keep looking up.
Keep looking up.
And I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah, yeah. We had a person who has worked for 30 years teaching kids about bird watching on a while ago, and the title of her book is "Keep Looking Up."
Yes,
so,
right.
Yeah. So it's a really, really useful little mantra.
Yes.
Yeah. And so to get people to do these things, outside is really wonderful because it adds so many layers to the sort of the physical and mental health part of it. And when you can't go out, there's that same pause that you can take. You know, you can look at a piece of art, you can listen to a piece of music. So this is actually one of the things that's part of our program as well, is to take advantage of all of that cascade of chemicals in your body when you have those experiences of awe and beauty. You know, that this is building us up. Yeah. So one of the things that I know that you are interested in is the skies and the night skies. So we don't usually talk about that's not really the reference that we've been doing. And I'm really intrigued by that and where that comes from and how that plays out for you.
Well, as I said, my father told me to keep looking up. And one of my earliest memories with him is sitting on a dock in Maine, probably about 9:30 at night, and I was probably 3 years old. And where there are really clear, dark skies, you can see a bazillion stars. You can see the Milky Way. And back in the day, we would look for Sputnik.
Yes.
Okay. So I had to be about 6 years old when we were looking for Sputnik. But Sputnik, what was that? Big deal. It was a really big deal. But we would spot it every clear night. And so, you know, that relationship, that bond of joy of looking at the night sky, I developed and learned with my father, and then, you know, carried on in my own life and with my children and grandchildren and so on. And I have been working to raise awareness about the importance of dark skies and the negative impact of light pollution, not only on people, very much so on people, which we forget about, the importance of having a really dark room to sleep, or a dark, darkness contributing to that ability to really get a deep, deep sleep. And but also the connection, we've been talking about critters and our connection with nature, and the impact of light pollution on the critters of the night that also, like humans, need darkness in order to be fully functional and healthy. So you have fireflies who are experiencing light pollution, who are blinking madly to find their friends, their mate, and then they can't find them. And those populations are dwindling as a result. You have the moths that are a hugely important pollinator. And our pollinators are under duress from pesticides and habitat loss and so on. But did we know that the lights on in our backyards could actually be having a negative impact, is having a negative impact, unless we turn them off? I turn mine off at 10 o'clock every night. And something that is very uplifting about this, you know, when we get worried about nature, how nature is doing, how it's impacting us, how, you know, the nature is being negatively impacted by many of the human choices. When we're able to take action is an uplifting experience, helps to reduce anxiety, helps to reduce depression, and gives us the agency, the control that we so desire, and everybody wants to be helping and improving things. By being aware of what light pollution is doing in your own backyard, you may not be able to control the whole community, but you can control your own yard. And every backyard, no matter how small it is, and front yard or side yard, has those little critters flittering around, crawling around, the caterpillars that the birds feed their babies. It's their baby food. Without them, the birds are impacted. Yeah. So, but any action that we take to reduce light pollution in our own backyard is immediate. You don't have to wait to see what benefits might follow. The benefit occurs as soon as you turn the light off.
Yeah.
It's very, very exciting.
It is. And to think that little act, has implications, and that you have the ability to do that. This is the education piece of mental health, right? I can help myself by knowing what I'm doing, and by knowing that I can have an effect on the world in that way. Yeah. And one that sort of rings out through nature.
Yes.
Yeah. So in wildness, we turn off the switch and the wildness comes on.
That's so true.
Yes, in many ways.
The smallest little area, a little alley between two buildings.
That's the intriguing part of this for me, because we're always looking for those very small things that we can do and small things that we can bring to our kids, I mean, we are all taken up with the things of the day, and to be able to find 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there, and to just stop sometimes and look out the window. This is one of the things that we've been talking about when we've been talking about bird watching. What happens to you when you stop and you look out the window for 2 minutes at whatever's going on at your feeder?
Yes.
It resets you.
Oh, it does. And yes, surprises abound with birds. And just taking a moment to look, I have to share an exciting thing. I was cleaning the back porch yesterday, just sweeping a couple of things, and wanted to water some plants. And I went to water this rabbit's foot fern, and something moved. And I thought, oh dear, what's in there? And so I looked, and there was this beautiful mourning dove who decided that my rabbit's foot fern, has these little rabbits, very soft, and then the little soft fern fronds. That is, I said, wow, what a perfect nest. Never happened before. So of course I went and got my binoculars and told her, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. I'm going to get my binoculars and watch you from a distance.
Yes.
But that little thing, and I had to tell you, because when these things happen, you want to tell people.
Yeah.
It's thrilling.
Yeah, it is. And now you have a project. 2 minutes here, a minute there. What are they doing?
That's right.
What's going on over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Doveland.
I expect an egg. They're either sitting and they take turns. The male and female take turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little National Geographic special at our fingertips every time we look outside or we go outside. Yeah.
And you are not in a rural area there waiting for wilderness to come in. It's like this little. It's a fern. I mean, that's what Thoreau was talking about. One little tangle of ferns. What's going on in there?
Yes.
And then then we saw how it made you feel.
Yes.
Yes. So this is it. Just putting these things together. So did we finish with the night sky for you?
Well, we did just have a solar eclipse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which was brilliant. And I know the university had a wonderful public event for everyone. I was here for the last partial eclipse at the university, and you had the professors and the telescopes and the students and the charts and everything, which I love. And I was able this time to be with friends who live in the path of totality for this.
Wow.
So you talk about a peak experience, and it was clear and it was beautiful, and but all the feeling, but the personal feeling, but also the feeling of being together with millions of people who were seeing. Some were seeing the total eclipse, some the partial, but that shared experience at that particular moment, looking up, was thrilling and something I will always remember. And sharing that experience, we don't always have to share it. Something like that little bird. That was me and the bird. That was it.
No, it was
I brought my husband.
It was all of us now, and the people listening.
And of course, I immediately called my granddaughters and said, you're going to see this bird when you come visit. So, but that shared experience, to share it is really you relive it again, and that's thrilling as well. Yeah, uplifting.
Cool. Yeah. So one of the things that I'm really thankful for is being in Chester County with the amazing landscape that we have and the amazing availability of that landscape for us, for walking, for looking at tangles of ferns, for doing whatever. Again, and it's not wilderness, and it's not necessarily big places. It's little places as well. And so you sort of have a storehouse of those. I'm wondering if you have favorites or thoughts of where people might go to share that little pause, that 20 minutes with the kids.
Well, as I said, you can just walk out your door and look down,
yes,
or look up.
There's that.
Look around. But I mean, we have in our urban areas, we have wonderful municipal parks. Everhart Park, Marshall Square Park, Pippin Park. We have parks all over the borough of Westchester. So for students here at Westchester University, you can walk, 10 minutes, and you're at any number of parks. And there are surprises everywhere and delights everywhere in the parks. Also, 30% of Chester County is conserved open space, and it is available. Again, a 10-minute drive, a 15-minute drive. Some you can just walk to if you live near a municipal park. In the townships, they have beautiful parks. We really are blessed with public open spaces here in Chester County. So in addition to just walking out your door and taking a walk, you can hop on a bicycle, you can hop, in the car and drive a short distance to beautiful open spaces, rolling hills, wooded areas, streams, all the little critters in the streams. One of my favorite things from childhood was tracking salamanders in the creek. And it was, and I've been back to see it, and I'm like, we thought we were in the jungle, right? And quicksand and everything else, but
wildness,
a little mud, lets your imagination.
In a 2-foot
wildness,
creek.
And exactly, absolutely,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, we have hit on the things that I really wanted to hit on, and I really want to reinforce the fact that the Earth Day celebration is really something to behold.
Yes, it's splendid.
I hope that people will come out. It is at the Upper Main Line YMCA on this Saturday, April 20th. Starts at 10 and goes until 1. So I'm hoping people will come out and go canoeing and walk by the creek or the crick, as we're supposed to say.
And the weather is going to be beautiful.
Is it?
That's what I've seen.
That's the order you put in.
It is rain or shine. Let me just say, if anything should change, it is rain or shine.
Yeah,
we're able to move inside.
But it's looking good.
It is.
All right.
Yeah.
So I hope folks will come out and just see it as that pause. See it as that chance to connect. And you can do that with yourself. And we could do that with ourselves right now so that we have the same thing at the top and the bottom of the show. So let's take 3 breaths. Breathing in. Breathing in again. And one last time. So, a quick check-in, Carolyn, to see if you have a word of wisdom for us. Close us out.
Well, a wise person often said to me, keep breathing. And every time there is a difficult situation or a fearful situation, maybe you're going to be public speaking or trying to figure out how to handle something. There's a lot to that message, keep breathing. I mean, you go like, well, of course I'm going to keep breathing, but think about it.
You may actually have stopped for a minute. Yes.
It's true. And when you take the 3 breaths, I think is really quite impactful. Even one breath, and nobody needs to know that you're taking it. You don't have to do it. I mean, it's always more impactful if you can really breathe in and really sigh it out. But you can also take that deep breath in and out, and nobody ever has to know that you're doing it except you.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. This has been great. I'm really looking forward to Saturday, and we'll see you and everyone there.
Thank you, Don.